Hello. I have Sketchbook. It's not ready to be toured. It's not ready to be toured. It's not ready to be toured. I'm going to fill a spread in today, hopefully, if I do everything correctly. I have been thinking about the monsters in my OC universe. I've talked about them in my I'll put it in the little thing that goes there if I'm smart and I remember. But that video, I talk about the parasites, and there are these creatures mostly exist in people's minds. They make up in their head, but they can they latch on to people and try to absorb their energy, and they're little monsters. And I've never designed them because I'm really bad at monster design. I tried to do it a while back and I'm just not very good at it. But you know how we get better at things we're not good at? Practicing. So I have a Pinterest board. We can all ignore my crunchy, crusty little iPad and admire my Pinterest board. So it's got some creepy things. A couple things from Silent Hill are saved because I feel like that's a good game in terms of if you want to do things that are very conceptually horror and based on certain emotions and feelings and experiences. I feel like that's a good game to look at for references. I looked at this and I remember being like, oh, this is perfect, especially with this part down here with the person inside. This is what I like. So I was thinking I'd maybe try and design a monster that I already know exists to practice. And I think that monster, oh, by the way, I want to show you the spread. The monster design that I'm going to design in this video is, or at least attempt to design or theorize on designing, is Cash's dad. But I want to show you this. I want to show you this page first. I had art camps this summer and I drew these fish and I stuck this fish and these, and I stuck them to my wall, and I got a bunch of art from kids. And this is some of the art I got from kids. I really like this cat, and this is I think it's meant to be a paint palette. And then I got this cute little note on it. These cute little notes. This kid always drew her dogs with boobs, and this kid wrote Love Chloe, and I got really emotional. Down here, this is the same kid who made this one. I love this shark. This is probably gonna be a tattoo. And this is another shark, but look at how I love all of this so much. I just wanted to have a place where I could put a bunch of the art I got from kids, but then I put my own art on top of it anyways. I want to design Cash's dad in this video, or at least attempt to. So I want to start by kind of just sketching him and what he looks like. I have 2 images saved to John's board. That's his name. Last night I was thinking about him and his character, I guess. I've only ever thought of him as Cash's dad, which I think is a bad way to think of him because he's his own character who should have his own story. He's not just Cash's dad. I need to think of him as a character just outside of only that idea. Here's my singular drawing of Cash with his parents. I like that. I love his face here. I think his dad's face is very perfect. I think I like the sunken in kind of cheekbone. I want to just kind of sketch him out. Maybe just kind of try and be somewhat loose with it. Something that I guess while I doodle his dad here, I'm gonna bring y'all closer. What I was gonna say about Cash's second form, so for those unfamiliar, this whole OC story is it's so much to explain. This is really a video that might need more context from that other one, but basically the superheroes in this universe have forms they can take on that are they have forms that they figure out they have once they discover they have powers and learn to kind of start to control them. And Cash's dad is not a superhero. He is he's not a monster, but he's not a good man even before he gets taken over by the parasites. So parasites are these monsters that are feeding off of people that are in some way, I would describe either weak-willed or weak-minded. Just somehow weak of the mind is how I've always thought of them. So with Cash's dad, how much do I want to explain with him? I think a major part of him is substance abuse. Yay! I think it's very interesting that him and Cash both partake in substances. His dad is farther along into his abuse of everything, and it's already affected Cash and their family. And his dad, by the point that he is taken over by a parasite, I think he's no longer welcomed in the house. So I think that maybe is part of what leads to his descent into becoming a parasite. His dad is like out of the picture by the time that Cash is like maybe in like his senior year of high school. That's kind of like how I've thought of it so far. Nothing super solidified with Cash. It's been a while since he's seen his dad, but they're already on bad terms. I think it was like he was just becoming even like so addicted to whatever substance. I'm thinking alcohol, probably. Whatever substance is involved has been a very big problem. He has already been like kicked out of the house for it. And by the point that he's coming back, he's already taken over by the parasite. And I want it to emphasize what kind of made him scary. I think that he developed a lot of like anger problems and was not very nice to their mom, and I think that contributes to why he's why he's been out of the picture. I feel like I don't know how long he's been out of the picture, but it's long enough that he's not super familiar with Cash's little sister, Rhea. Cash has a little sister who is not related to their dad, but is related to their mom. Either he doesn't know she exists, or he like has barely witnessed her. And I don't think that Rhea's dad is in the picture either. So it's a really great fatherly household. I was gonna draw little hearts around him. This does not deserve little hearts around him, but I will give him like a little bit of scruff going down here. Ooh, I like that. This is like my first time sketching him on paper. I've only done digital drawings of him. But I want to emphasize what makes him scary like as an individual and what would make him scary in Cash's eyes, because this is the parasite that Cash has to fight. It's his dad. So let me do some notes. So her mom, I think generally his strength scared Cash, but also that's because he was like even more of a kid the last time he saw him. Like he anticipates that his dad was much stronger than him, even if he's like, I'd say he's like an average built man, you know, compare that to like a 14-year-old boy or however old he was. It's not like a fair comparison. What else? I want to play into how we could personify like alcoholism in a character design like this, because it's so conceptual and I don't know what that could be. I feel like that could be very interesting in like how it moves. Like maybe it's got the like wobbly walk of an intoxicated person. I don't know. Something interesting there could happen. I think those are like some of the three major things. I guess like crazy mood swings. Look at that man. He is just a horrible person. I'm gonna actually give him more eyebrow fluff. I like him. I like his design. I don't like him as an individual. He's got some male pattern, but he's kind of hot. Fuck. So now getting back to the parasite aspect. So how do I want to maybe play up? How can I play into alcoholism? I might pause this and save more things that feel like they could help me here, because I'm feeling already like underprepared. So let me pause. Check out the AI slop that came up. Ooh. Don't piss me off. Okay, so I thought about it a little bit. I have a very like dumb idea, so I'm gonna like scribble. I like to imagine that these are very silhouette-y. This idea already sounds dumb as I start to explain it, but I'm throwing literally anything at the wall because I'm so not experienced with this. I feel like maybe emphasizing like height, because it's like the view from a child's eyes, so maybe like really emphasizing length. I like the thought of like things being unsettling, something that when I was a kid, not that my parents were abusive like this, but when I would get like scared of your parents as a kid, I remember something that stood out to me was like I would be able to see the whites of my dad's eyes, and I think maybe that could be something interesting I play into with Cash's dad, or maybe even like other monsters. But I don't know, it's an idea. So I'm imagining there is this big this is such a weird concept, but a bunch of bottles clinking together that are like dragging down. Like maybe he's like really hunched and he's dragged by all of these bottles that are just dragging behind him, and he's got like, I don't know, and they make all these like glass against the wall sounds that they like could work very interestingly. I don't know. His size is just really crazy. Like put a normal person. Do we like how this pen is definitely not meant for what I'm using it for right now? There's my black marker. My silly scented one, aka the only black marker that I really have that I use. But I like the thought of it being very like silhouette-y, but maybe the bottles could be like what stands out. I don't know. I'm trying to think. This is the sort of like, I just feel like every time I try and design something, I can't like execute it the way I envision it in my mind. Or if I am trying to envision it in my mind, there's like a blockage in how far I can see that thing going. I like the thought of playing into the like drunken walk. I think that could add an element of like fear and like swinging these bottles around just like crazy. Yeah, so just all of these bottles, a huge collection of bottles, and maybe like it's just this huge net almost like carried in it and trapped in it. I don't know, that could be interesting because a lot of times they're absorbing people. I think the only way you can see them in a physical manner is if they are able to physically start to absorb someone. So at first they exist purely in like minds of people. They can only affect people by their minds. They can only start to exist physically once they take on somebody's like body and start to like control and absorb, like attempt to absorb them, but not entirely. I don't think that they can entirely absorb someone and remain physical, so they like hold on to the person as long as they can, and usually they can like latch on pretty strong because of who they tend to cling to. So I've also thought of a way to represent like how much of a person is like left within, because I do think that like some people who start to be taken by a parasite are able to be saved and removed from like the situation. It happens before. I was gonna say like something that could reflect like how much of the person that remains inside could be reflected in like the shadow that the person has behind them. So I was thinking like that even in this form that's like maybe far removed from what his dad actually looks like in human form, he could still have like, because he's still alive within there somewhere, he would still have a shadow that looks very human. He's like, their physical form that they take on is physically real, but it's like still not entirely true. I guess it's so weird and annoying to explain, but I hope what I say makes sense in some way. So with this idea, I like the bottles and like the cans. I think that's an interesting idea. I want to play with it more. I kind of like how it comes across in this sketch more than this one, but I think part of that is because this one still feels very humanoid. Like I want to play with the proportions to make it feel more, I don't know, creepy, out there, not of our human nature. I'm really just talking in this video about like my OCs in a way that's kind of familiar, and I'm sorry about that. Okay, I mean, the only other character I think I've really mentioned in this video is Cash, and I mean, I guess also his sister, but I have like one doodle of her. Okay, so maybe, again with that idea of playing with proportions, I feel like when you're scared of someone's strength, what is like the thing that comes to mind? And I think of like arms and hands and like a build that's taller. I also kind of like the Disney knees that that some of the Silent Hill characters tend to have. And I feel like that could work here, just kind of to show that posture thing more than anything else. Unsettling. I feel like also though, when I do things like this, I don't ever feel like I'm being the most creative individual, but you know what? Who cares? It would be fun to make the arms really long too. Maybe the head could be smaller. Do I want to pull out a sticky note? I like almost never touch my white sticky notes because partially they're warped and actually I don't want to. I'm gonna use this instead. Whenever I use a sticky note, I like it because it adds a little bit of something else interesting into what I'm drawing. I want to play with the head being smaller, so I'm just gonna... You know how when you were a kid, your teachers told you like to go around the whole page like this and then do an X? I never do that. I just scribble it on there. And it's because I don't trust this glue to actually work because it's like, it's a glue stick. It's not the strongest thing ever. I kind of get it. Okay, now I need to remember what this body looks like a little bit underneath here because I really only need to resketch the head, but I think that's pretty close. So a tiny aw head. Yeah, let's pretend like this is scarier than it is. Okay, I'm gonna actually make my camera go up a little bit. Okay, so then with the arms. I kind of maybe, like, I'm thinking of maybe repeating this pose. I like how this feels, but I think I could also emphasize this more when I do. But I also think I could do some really big hands, maybe. This is my silly scented marker. Have I ever given this one a whiff? No, because it's why is it caramel macchiato? I was gonna be like, well, it's because it's black licorice. And then I was like, I don't think that's correct, as I started to like say it and be like, I would never smell that because it's black licorice. The true reason I would never smell that is because I have no ability to do so. I lost my sense, my ability to smell generally to COVID. I can smell a little bit sometimes if it's strong. I feel like I've said this before in a video though. This looks stupid. I'm gonna look up like fishnet wrapped around someone. I feel like that also like plays in interestingly. Just so trapped within substance abuse. Ooh, cute. Love the parallels between Cash and his dad. That's another interesting thing with them, is that they have a lot of parallels in ways that I think Cash absolutely does not love. Ooh, I actually like this way more now that I've done this. Wait, am I liking my monster design a little bit? This is a big day for me. Probably gonna do another spread to get like ideas more solidified. But like this, I love the idea of like it having this large scale. And it feels so much more threatening. And ooh, and it could maybe even look like, because it's the sort of like fishnetty vibe, it could just look like a bunch of like stuff that was caught in it. Oh, them being like these sort of like silhouette-y creatures is what I've always kind of liked the thought of when I've thought of them. I wanted to talk about Cash and his dad parallels. One of the things that I don't know if I've mentioned in a video, but when Cash is in his second form, one of the many reasons why he does not like that form is because he looks significantly more like his dad, and I wanted that to be like a very big aspect. And you know, especially with the eyes sort of thing, like he covers them in this form, and I was thinking it would be very fun to play into the idea of how long do I want this to go? Sorry, I started zoning out because I was like, how long do I want this? But I kind of like it more just that. Like it's, the drinks just clink against each other a lot as he walks. That could be fun. The reason Cash covers his eyes so much is because I think his eyes, once he gets his second form, look almost identical to his dad's, and he's like, I don't want this. That isn't like, ooh, good, now that I just had to kill this guy, now I get to have his eyeballs permanently replacing the ones that looked more like my mom's. That's really great. But I love this, how this is going. I'm so bad at monster design, but this is a big step in the right direction. I really like the differences between Cash's dad and what he can turn into. So I want to maybe play, how do I want to do this? Because I was thinking, how loose is the signature? A loose one. This sketchbook wasn't my best, but I think I'm ready to try and sketch out maybe an interesting pose or like full drawing of this character. Like honestly, for where I'm at, I'm already very happy with what I created, and I kind of want to just try and make a drawing that captures this in a way that I feel like would actually feel scary and emphasize certain things as I go. I feel like this silhouette of a design has been done before, but I haven't seen like the fishnet thing. I also am like not that I'm like not a fan of horror, I just don't watch a whole lot of it on my own. I usually will watch things if like my friends show them to me, but I don't really reach out to horror. I want to portray his feet because I kind of, when I sketched this out, I didn't really think of it, and now I'm here. Now I'm here and I still haven't really thought of it. Kind of looks a little bit like the spot, but I think it's just the silhouette and kind of him being hunched over. I'm so ready for that movie to come out. You don't even know. That's gonna be, when that movie comes out, like I already am doing pretty intense from the most recent Spider-Man release. Imagine an animated one. I had a kid yesterday who, when I was talking to him, he's like, the animated Spider-Man, they're not that good. And I went, what did you just say? He goes, the animated Spider-Man aren't very good. And my immediate response to him was, your opinion from now on does like not mean anything to me. Who cares if I say shit like that? These are the things that I say where I'm like, I wonder if this would like, if people would care that I said this, or if they would think it's funny that I said that to a kid. Cause like, I don't actually care that deeply, especially, again, hey, it is a kid, so I don't care deeply. But like that movie, you don't like Spider-Man? You don't like the animated Spider-Man? What is wrong with you? So you know how I said I haven't figured out the feet and then I just immediately moved on from them? Yeah. Oh, another thing that I needed to talk about, I guess this is like something I can play with in this drawing, is that with the monsters, as they like continue to absorb people, a lot of times it's like they have a certain time limit in which that they can like have someone in a physical form, and that's like when they're at their peak strength. So they tend to try and use that time to absorb as many other people as they can of like higher strengths. So like they run rampant when they like finally get someone that they can latch onto, and as they latch onto that person, like they slowly eat away and kill that person, and then they no longer have a vessel to work with anymore. So I've thought of, as the person like deteriorates within, they look more and more like close to a person depending on like the full effect of the parasite. And a lot of times the parasite is using their like physical persona, like the physical person, and keeping them looking like that, because I think getting into this territory like wears down the person very quickly to do that as much. So then they like to use them while they remain more in like a form that reads as just a normal person. But as they get more and more in, like as the person withers away more and more, I think their design leans more and more heavily into that monster design. And then I think once the parasite completely takes over a person and form like that, they can run rampant for a while just like that. But there's benefits to being able to use the human aspect, so they're not always eager to get to that point where they're like now have a physical form that they can always be in, because then they'd always look like this. There's a lot of benefits that they can use to their advantage looking like a normal person to like try and trap people. I didn't like how that sketch was looking. I also didn't want to like play around with the idea of like how it transforms when I'm doing like more of a finished illustration here. So I'm gonna lighten this up and we're gonna line it, and then I'm gonna like do something for coloring. I'm thinking actually that I kind of want to do some layering with some Tombow markers in gray. So I'm gonna start by just filling in the whole thing with some of this gray. Oh, this is so light. I'm gonna start by filling in the whole thing with some of this gray. Oh, I wish that my other gray was a little bit more juicy. I'm not into this. I really like the fishnet aspect. The unfortunate thing is that I'm like, does this even feel like it's actually scary, or does it just feel like it's just a guy with like silly proportions and he's got a net of like, is it intimidating, or is it just giving like some bullshit? Like, I don't really know, but I like the attempt at playing with this design. I'm giving him like, the only thing that I think remains for sure until like the very end of John getting absorbed by the parasites is that his hair maybe stays around for a little bit until the very end. Then he's all trapped. I do love filling in a silhouette though, because then I get to see my negative shapes and how I did. I love a good negative space in a pose. I've started to like notice it a lot more, especially because I think of all the Spider-Man fan art I've been doing. It just makes me appreciate like the spaces in between what you're drawing, how that space interacts with what you're doing. It makes for nice poses when you have good negative space. Yeah, I'll do like the sketching of the net, and I'll do that in the lighter gray. No, I won't, because I can't even see it. I was gonna be like, yeah, the lighter gray will like work for this because it's lighter. No, that's exactly why it won't work, actually, Hayden. I am a big fan of generally how this is going. I mean, I want it to feel like more bottles than this, so maybe like it goes down further, but it just gets like even more clinky and like janky down here. I feel like I could do some more like kind of scribbly line art for this too, just to kind of capture the vibe. I mean, this is all very scribbly, all things considered for me. I like that I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do more of like a final illustration on this page, and this is what it's looking like, but it's fine. This is a vibe in itself. What is this down here, Hayden, do we think? But another thing with like Cash and his dad and how they like mirror each other, I think that Cash has a lot of similarities to his dad, but I mean, obviously he's not his father, but it's one of those things where he's like, damn, I'm really similar to this guy that fucking sucks. And I don't want to go down that road, but I feel like he feels himself almost like going in the direction. I feel especially like with his lovely substance abuse problems, which I feel like I implied in the video where I talked about all of them. I was like, he has some bad habits that he indulges in. Cash really just is looking for anything that can distract him, which is maybe I want to say maybe it's similar to his dad in a way. I feel like maybe his dad and him could have some parallels in how they've grown, but like I want Cash to be the reminder that you do not have to be that you do not have to completely imitate things from your parents, even if you have. It's kind of like the shameless effect of you are not your parent even if you have some of their traits that were less desirable. So that's fun. Okay, I don't like this mouth thing, so I don't know why I did that. We're just gonna, maybe his face is like extra dark. We'll pretend for this video at least. We like that I finally figured out a filming setup that doesn't have my head coming in every couple of seconds, because I like that. I don't know about y'all. I don't think many people care as much as I cared, but it just really irritated. Like when I was editing my video, that left-handed one, there'd be sections where I'd kind of be saying something interesting and I'd be like, well, your head was in shot the entire time and I'm not necessarily into that personally. So I'm going to remove this. I edited a video recently. It's a TikTok and there's a couple shots where like it's extra zoomed in. You may notice it. I'm trying to avoid my feet getting in the video. I'm sure my feet have ended up in the background of a video before, but I just don't like the thought of doing it. Like if I notice it, I'm like, I can't have this in here. I can't end up on Feet Finder. Does this look good? I can't tell. I'm gonna maybe do the whole body in. But yeah, they both Cash and his dad have like crazy substance abuse problems. I think Cash's are like, they're more tame because he's just dipping his toe into how crazy he can get, but he's definitely not like on a good trajectory with how he is around it. So he's not at the point where it's like totally affecting him, but he's definitely not at a point where it's like he has no problems at all. Much like suffocating, send the pain below. Much like suffocating, send the pain below. Okay, I'm gonna black marker. There you are. My caramel macchiato. How did I feel like a kid when I draw and I get like so much crap all over my hands. I'm like, how you are grown-ass man. I'm gonna make this part a little more prominent because this is like where it ends at the front. Kind of want it to be like ripped though a little bit, so maybe it's like fraying, and then this is connected, maybe like strings kind of fray around in yarn, like they're hanging from it. I like this kind of scribbly vibe that he's got going on. I like them maybe being more scribbly. I feel like that could be something interesting too. Their animation is almost like just so scribbly when they move and stuff. I don't know. The thing about the monsters for me is like what makes them creepy is how they interact with the space and the people around. Like that's what's unsettling about them. Their actual designs is like they can be unsettling, and I feel like Cash's, for the parasite that he has to fight, his dad, I wanted this design to read maybe more as something that would actually like scare you, and I think scale wise is another thing that you need to think of with this. Like I think that when he was little, it's like I would say maybe he's gonna feel like this big, like Cash is gonna be like down here and this is how big the monster is gonna be. That's gonna be so fun for him to fight. He's gonna love that. If Cash could meet me and know that I'm the creator of all of his problems, he'd kill me on sight. And I mean that. With my other characters, I think they'd be maybe more forgiving. I think Cash would be like, you did this? I'll kill you to death with a gun. Otherwise, if he didn't know it was me, I'd do something. I think maybe having like it being almost like scribbly around his head, like you can't quite make out what's going on over there. And then I like the hands kind of being darker along with the feet, just it wrapped around. I like this design, honestly. I'm pretty happy with this. Sup, John? I'm gonna write John next to it. I think it's funny to just write John next to this, but this is how far I think I'm gonna go in this video. I had fun. My cap is on the ground, so I'm gonna like just, you'll get to see. I also wanted to mention, I know, like, I looked back at this page, I noticed that I wrote alcoholism as alcohism, and probably wrote some other things wrong, but I haven't looked that closely. We started with Cash's dad, John, then we got into little concepts of what we could do with his thing, and here he is. This is, like, as far as I'm going. I'm probably going to tweak this more. I feel like what I want to really do with these characters to kind of figure out how they would play out is do, like, some animation tests, but I am not a very good animator, so it would be, this could exist in my brain and be something that I think about and how Cash would interact with this. I love this, like, I'm very happy with this in terms of progression from where I started, which where I started was like fucking nothing other than a voice note that I read to myself last night where I was like, okay, and then the monsters, they would be like this, and then they'd fight like that, and then it would be this crazy thing with it. I'm very happy with this. This is fun. I enjoyed this. I'm gonna go get packed to hang out with friends. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you liked watching me try and figure this stuff out. I know that people want to see me design their superhero forms on camera, or at least somebody requested that, and I would be very into it. I feel like I need to do a lot of studies to prep myself for that one too, but you know, it is what it is. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. If you liked this art and you want to know more about my OCs, I have videos on them on this channel, and you can subscribe. I always am talking about them. I'm going to talk about them a lot in foreseeable videos in the future, as well as if you just liked my art in general, I have Instagram, I have TikTok. I'm there on Instagram like almost every day, and then TikTok I'm there for sure. I also have gotten more followers on Pinterest. If you're ever interested in like seeing what I use for art references, I have a board of just everything that I use saved, and then I also have boards that are like OC inspo, so if you kind of want to get like a vibe of my characters, like if you ever wanted to draw them, if you insisted on drawing my characters, I would maybe oblige by letting you, if you just like looked at my OC board. If you just looked at my OC board, I'd be into that. So anyways, this is a very long outro. I just have a lot to say because I'm happy to talk. So go have a good rest of your breakfast, lunch, and or dinner, and I will see you hopefully in the next video. Goodbye.